South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has departed for Tokyo. This is the first South Korean president to visit Japan in 12 years for bilateral talks. Seoul and Tokyo are looking to strengthen ties as regional threats from North Korea and China are rapidly increasing. Yoon is set to meet with the Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida later today, but just hours before President's departure, North Korea fired yet another ballistic missile into the sea. This is the fifth missile Pyongyang has launched in the last 4 days. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin spoke to the Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu about the destruction of a U.S. drone over the Black Sea. Austin says that the key to stopping miscalculations between Russia and the U.S. is the ability to keep the lines of communication open. This marked the first call between the two leaders in 5 months. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejects the changes proposed to judicial reforms by the President Isaac Herzog. Netanyahu said that the main parts of his proposal will only worsen the current situation and he cannot guarantee the balance which is needed between the authorities in Israel. People have been demonstrating against Netanyahu's judicial reforms for months now. If the initial proposal is passed, it would mean greater government sway in selecting judges and less power in the hands of the Supreme Court to strike down the legislation. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan stated that he plans to keep his promise and will send ratification of Finland's NATO membership to the parliament soon. The Finnish president is set to land in Istanbul later today. The two presidents are expected to discuss Finland's NATO membership along with regional and international issues, which will also be discussed. Turkey has repeatedly said that Sweden needed to take additional steps against the supporters of Kurdish militants. Scores of demonstrators marched again in Paris against President Emmanuel Macron's pension reform bill. The bill aims to raise retirement age by 2 years, that is from the current 62 to 64, and despite the backlash, Macron has pressed ahead with his plan. The pension bill was passed earlier to a joint parliamentary committee where lawmakers from the lower and upper chambers are seeking a compromise text. If a deal is reached, a final vote in both the Senate and National Assembly will be held later today. Poland sees inflation at its highest point in over a quarter of a century, and the Polish consumers are feeling the brunt of it. With a sharp increase in prices for food and energy, inflation in Poland was 18.4% year-on-year in February, touching the highest levels in 26 years. Prices for food and non-alcoholic beverages also rose by 24% year-on-year in February. Surging energy costs have also put households across Europe under pressure, with prices for housing, water, electricity and gas rising by 22.7% in February. However, experts believe that this will be the peak of the current cycle. Scores of Hungarians took to the streets in Budapest to demonstrate against the government's education policies. The civil rights groups marched from Hero Square to the city centre carrying a 48-metre-long Hungarian flag, symbolising the 1848 revolution against the Austrian rule. The demonstrators are demanding higher wages, a solution to the shortage of teachers and the right to strike. They also expressed dissatisfaction about Hungary's clash with the EU and the country's delay in supporting the NATO accession of Finland and Sweden. After receiving intelligence about a possible terror attack, Vienna police stepped up armed patrols in sensitive sites in the Austrian capital. including churches also. The police also took a rare step of warning the public on social media that there would be a heightened presence of armed police, including special forces, in this city. Now, Vienna is among the safest capitals in the world, and terror attacks here are rare. More than 3 hours after alerting the public, the police clarified that the risk of an attack against churches in fact meant not only Christian churches but various religions, places of worship and other buildings. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says that Ethiopia needs to make more progress implementing a peace agreement with its northern Tigray region before relations with Washington are normalized. Blinken said that Ethiopia must ensure that there are no ongoing gross violations of human rights. This comes after Blinken met with the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and other leaders. Blinken also met with the representatives from the Tigray People's Liberation Front. He announced over $330 million in new humanitarian assistance to Ethiopia. Members from the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs inspected the situation in the Haitian capital. The team is in the country to assess the current humanitarian situation resulting from gang violence that has affected more than half of the capital. The head of the delegation said that around $700 million fund raised for Haiti is not enough. He hopes to extend requests of more funds from more member countries and also the community abroad. Meanwhile, the UN Special Envoy to Haiti warned in Washington that resources are needed by the international community to Haiti. The United States government arrested WION, who is an exiled Chinese businessman with ties to former U.S. President Donald Trump's advisor, Steve Bannon. He has been charged for cheating his online followers of more than $1 billion. He promised outsized investment returns but diverted much of the money to fund lavish lifestyles for himself and his family. According to the officials, he has been charged with 11 criminal cases, including securities fraud, wire fraud, and concealment of money laundering. At least 11 people were killed in explosion in a coal mine in central Colombia. The explosion took place late on Tuesday in a rural area about 75 kilometers north of Bogota. 2 people had already been rescued and 7 escaped unaided. The explosion caused due to accumulation of gas in 6 adjoining coal mines. According to the officials, the mines were not illegal and they had sought permission from the authority to operate in the area. Such serious incidents are common at open pit and also the area where the coal mine was located. Scores of demonstrators blocked a key processing plant in Bolivia's lithium-rich region. They are demanding legislation that guarantees better benefits for local communities and larger royalties from extraction of the electric battery metal. The demonstrations are focused on a plant which holds one of the world's largest troves of this metal. The price of electric battery metal has surged too much during the global shift towards electric vehicles that it is now called white gold.
Ahorita, sino que esto ya hace rato ya es lo que es. Se ha anunciado el paro de 72 horas.
Estamos en punto de bloqueo.
Meanwhile, Chile's President Gabriel Boric has said that his government will strengthen border security in the north in an effort to reduce the flow of unauthorized immigration. Boric said that his government will carry out intense diplomatic activity with Bolivia and Venezuela. He added that the current system is a major obstacle in deporting foreigners that commit crimes. He further said that the new measures seek to combat criminal organizations that commit crimes involving human trafficking, drug trafficking, and also smuggling weapons. Chile culled around 40,000 poultry birds after it detected its first case of bird flu in an industrial setting. An official said that it was a limited event and authorities haven't detected more cases in the surrounding area. Cases of bird flu, mostly in the wild animals, have been detected in Chile since late last year. Meanwhile, Argentina also confirmed its first case in industrial poultry last month, causing it to suspend the export of products. The South American health authorities created a regional technical committee earlier this month to deal with bird flu outbreaks. Tons of fish were sacrificed in Spain's Catalonia on Wednesday. This is being done as an exceptional anti-drought measure to preserve water quality in a drying reservoir. The local authorities say that these fishes would struggle to survive in the low oxygen water of the drying reservoir. The government wants to transfer the water to the Susqueda reservoir to guarantee supply to 1 million people for up to 3 months. The move also aims at minimizing the risk of contaminating the drinking water in the reservoir. Unusual rains in Peru resulted in flood waters sweeping through the streets of 26 areas in Lima. The authorities say that the torrential rains and mudslides have affected drinking water supply. In some areas, drains were also collapsed due to the torrential rains in the northern region of Lambaque. A river also overflowed, preventing nearly 8,000 people from leaving the area. As per the government, since January, rains have resulted in the deaths of 50 people and has also affected over 20,000 homes. Residents of a southern Malawi village scooped water out of grave pits on Wednesday. They had to resort to this to bury victims of a landslide caused by tropical cyclone Freddy. The burial took place despite ongoing rains. The death toll in Malawi has risen from 190 to 225. As many as 700 people are injured and 41 are missing. The tropical cyclone Freddy, which affected over 16,000 people across 10 districts in Malawi's southern region. Scientists are finding plastic debris in a remote Trinidad island, which is alarming. What is supposed to be a turtle refuge is seeing melted plastic becoming intertwined with rocks on the island. Researchers say this is an evidence of humans' growing influence over the Earth's geological cycles. Trinidad Island is one of the world's most important conservation spots for green turtles, with thousands arriving each year to lay their eggs. NASA has unveiled a prototype for the space suit that astronauts will wear on the next mission to the moon, scheduled for 2025. The suit's features include a light band and high-definition cameras and upgraded mobility as well. According to NASA, the company selected to create the suits for the Artemis 3 mission is expected. The Artemis 3 is expected to land astronauts, including the first woman on the moon, following 2 Artemis test missions.